Good morning. This is Beth Ricklefs with IAMS Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I'm a life insurance sales director here at IAMS. I'm excited to have John Entingh with us today to discuss NGL with you. I will go through the normal protocol, which is just a short intro to IAMS, and then I will hand over the presentation for John to go over all the benefits of using National Guardian Life as a single premium option. So to get started, if you are a new producer to IAMS or considering being a producer to IAMS, we do have a new producer builder program. We want to get you started producing with us as quickly as possible when you're contracted with us. And an incentive to do that, we have different production levels that we will be paying out different prizes. So the $100,000 level, that's going to equate to annuity production. It's going to be the equivalent to $10,000 of target premium for life insurance. And in that example, if you were to hit that in the first 60 days of contracting with IAMS, we would pay out, for example, $750 of cash. If you made it all the way up to the $1 million level, then we've got preset appointments and other prizes you can cash out at any time during that first 6 months. But the best way to understand the benefits of doing business with IAMS is to start sending us business and see how we excel in placing that business for you. We do, once you are a licensed or producing agent with us, we also offer referral bonuses. Our business is not much different than yours in that the best people that we can work with are advisors that you know in the industry that you can refer to us. So we do offer a 50 one-time referral bonus when that your agent that you refer to us gets licensed. And then we also offer commissions on any business that they write going forward. So that's going to be 0.15% of target life, for example, versus 0.2% on any kind of index annuity business. We also want you to be able to invest in your business. So we offer marketing reimbursement for everything that you're writing with us. That includes even during the new producer cycle of the 6 months. But for every $100,000 of index annuity premium, we're going to offer $100 of marketing reimbursement. Single premium, $200 for every $100,000 and $200 for every $10,000 of target life. You can use that for website design, business card development, leads, whatever you want to help build your business. We want to be in the game with you and a partner in that. We offer back office support here at IAMS on many different levels, from dealing with your directors, your annuity and life insurance sales directors, to help you with case design. We have a wonderful website, IAMSinc.com, that I'll go over with you in a minute here too. Forms at your fingertips, although you can always call into the office and we can get forms emailed out to you, but there is a way on our website that you can download websites as well. We are a partner with you from the start of the business when it comes to case design to the moment that you submit the business, and making sure that is processed continuously so that we get your business paid. We don't get paid unless you get paid. So we are definitely motivated to make sure that we have a high placement ratio and that we are getting your submissions completed. And then on the back end, we have to be able to support you on the commissions and make sure that you're getting paid. We can offer life and annuity quotes either through the sales director. There are some things on the website that you're able to do as well as far as quoting. We have the best sales directors out there when it comes to annuity and life and sales directors. And then we offer paperless contracting, which is a quick and easy way when we're looking at different companies to get licensed and move forward with taking an application. Our website is IAMSinc.com. If you have not visited there before, you want to go ahead and do that. In the corner over here of the website is a register button. If you have not registered for the website, there's a lot of different things that you're going to find out here. There's excellent sales tools. There is a training section that has our webinars. There's a sales resource library that has a ton of information, sample documents, and different PowerPoint presentations. It's always accessible 24/7. Like I said, you can find your forms online, industry links, and we have all of our product information on the website. I do have a webinar on our YouTube channel if you're wanting direction on how to best use our website, especially when it comes to life insurance. Let me know if you want me to send that link out to you. We prefer to do submissions with applications, whether it's annuity, life, or our senior market products in the way of e-applications. Firelight generally lends itself to annuity production, although there are a few companies on the Firelight platform that you can do e-application. Most of the life insurance applications are going to be done through iPipeline and then Sunfire for senior life. Those can all be found on our website at IAMSinc.com. And if you need any help with learning how to use these platforms, just reach out to an annuity sales director or a life insurance sales director, and then for the senior life, that would be Anna Sanchez. She would be happy to help. Like I said, here's kind of a rundown of the different Firelight annuity companies, quite a few on there, and like I said, just a few on the life side. Everything else is pretty much handled on iPipeline with us. We have a wonderful creative marketing team here at IAMS that can handle any of your marketing needs when it comes to your business. They have professionally written articles, newsletters, postcards. We can do logo design, brochure. They can help on the digital platform. The best thing about our creative marketing team is if you go out to any other marketing company to help you market your brand, you're having to reinvent the wheel because they're usually not familiar with the financial services industry. Our team is top notch on that. They very much understand all the ins and outs of our business, what's acceptable and what is not. And in addition to that, if you haven't talked with one of your sales directors about doing a marketing analysis about how to move your business forward, we don't use a cookie cutter approach when we are handling our agents. We realize that everybody's business is a little bit different, and what works for an agent in California is probably not going to work for an agent that might be in rural South Carolina. So your input of how your business, your structure is, we can do a marketing analysis with your sales director and go through where you are at in the market, where do you want to be, and then relate that back to our creative marketing team and come out with a full sales plan as far as how do we move forward in your business. Again, we want to be a business partner with you, and all of these services that our creative marketing team has would qualify for the marketing reimbursement too. IAMS Wealth Management is our managed money side of the spectrum here. We work with agents that have lots of money under assets under management, and those that are just getting started or maybe even haven't taken their 65. Duncan Smith is who you would want to contact out there. I would mention that we just launched a new program for somebody that maybe has not been in managed money before and maybe does not have the assets under management yet. we have a program to get somebody jump started on that, as well as help them with their 65. If that is something that you're interested in, please reach out to a sales director and we can get you pointed in the right direction for that. Throughout the year, you're going to see us advertise life and annuity academies. This is a great way to get with, 30 or 40 agents together that you can share ideas with. I know as an independent advisor, sometimes you can feel like you're on an island out there by yourself. So networking with other agents around the country can be very important. So that's a big plus to a life and annuity academy. But we're also going to hear from top sales producers that usually sponsored by a life or an annuity carrier that's going to sponsor that and talk about their products. Large case design, advanced markets as well, and talk about software tools. We have one coming up in May. That registration is closing up here pretty quickly. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're going to want to reach out to one of your sales directors and keep an eye out for the upcoming ones throughout the year as well. You can always like us on Facebook or LinkedIn to keep in touch with all the webinars that we are doing and everything that's new with IAMS. And with that, I will turn it over to John. 1 second here. All right, John, you should be good to go.
Perfect. You see that okay?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Well, good morning, and thank you for the introduction. I appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. Happy Eclipse Day. That seems to be the buzzword on everything that I look at. I want to thank you for taking your time out to hear me talk a little bit about the NGL Funeral Trust funding. The first thing I'd like to say to you is I am an investment advisor. I have a couple offices in Columbus, Ohio. The reason I'm sharing that with you is I'm in the field every day. I'm meeting with clients. So when I talk to you about this opportunity, I'm not sitting, in the home office. This is something that we actually have implemented into our business with great success. And it's a great opportunity for advisors who either don't understand it or don't know about it. So that's what I'm going to be covering with you today. So we'll talk about the opportunity that exists in the marketplace. We'll talk about the trust that is used to protect the money, the product that we use to fund the trust, and then I'll give you a few presentation ideas and tools that you can take with you today, and then we'll talk about the company itself, National Guardian Life, and what they've meant to our business. The opportunity is big. I mean, anytime you're talking about a product with a client that can help their family, you need prospects, right? I mean, we got to have people to talk to or the products are meaningless. And when we talk about this product, it's fitting right into the growing demographics that we're seeing in the marketplace. As of December 23, over 50 million retirees are receiving Social Security benefits. So for us, that's the aging of the marketplace that we're looking for. And we get excited when we see these numbers because by 2025, there's going to be twice as many seniors as there were in 2010. And it is our marketplace, but it's also a great opportunity to truly help these clients out and put them and their families into a good position. At the end of the day with funeral expenses, the big question is, will your end of life funds be there when your family needs them? I could tell you story after story where clients thought that they just went into the funeral home and they could pay them later. And that's actually not the way it works when you go in to take care of final expenses for a loved one. And we know that, any significant event in our lifetime, we're going to have to do planning around it to make sure we've got things in place. And this is no different when we're talking about the funeral industry, because funerals are going to require planning as well. Now, there's a couple sides of the fence to this. on that right side where we've got that 44.3% that have already prepaid the funeral. Those are people typically that go into the funeral home, they meet with the funeral director, they're picking out their casket and doing all that fun stuff. But our prospects are on the left-hand side. These are the people who haven't prepaid, and a lot of them, through conversations that we have, it's not because they don't want to do it, it's because it's a morbid thought for them to go down and think about their own demise. So prepaying for that funeral has a lot of benefits. I'll just tell you a little quick story about me. I'm the youngest of 5. My parents divorced when I was 2 years old, so I wasn't really super close with my father, but I've always been the entrepreneur in the family. And so when anything goes sideways, my phone usually rings to either get my opinion or my help. That order can vary. But I got a phone call on January 21st of 2011 that my dad had passed away. And the next day I found myself sitting in a funeral director's office with my siblings, and they were asking questions like, what was your dad's highest rank in the military? What was his favorite flower? Who are the pallbearers? What was his mother's maiden name? And, you know, I didn't have any of this information. I didn't know any of that. But what it made me quickly realize was that all these plans that I had done for our clients, that I'm going to talk to you about today with NGL, they weren't going through what I was going through. You know, they were going in and they had their funeral paid for, and they had a pamphlet filled out that told everything that they wanted to have done. So it really reinforced the value that NGL has. But unfortunately for me, on July 21st of 2021, my mom passed away. The difference was my mom was prepared. She had the pamphlet filled out. Her funeral was prepaid. And so when we went in there, it was just a matter of giving that pamphlet to the funeral director, and all the questions that I've been asked about my dad. We didn't have to go through that with my mom. It was real easy. And again, just reinforce that everything that we do for our clients with NGL is a win-win for everybody. So what are those benefits of planning ahead? Obviously, you've set the funds aside to pay for your funeral expenses. You can select a funeral home and plan your service when it's convenient for you. So you can, those 53% that wanted to get it done but don't go, they now have a way to put those funds aside, and then when they're ready, they can go down and meet with the funeral home. And if they never do, it still won't be an issue for their family. And when done correctly, we're setting those funds aside, and we're going to get them exempt from Medicaid. And so if we set them aside today, and when we're ready to plan out the details, then we can go meet with a funeral home or a planner, get those arrangements in place, and the funds are there to take care of it. So it's really just a simple matter of motivating your clients to get taken care of. What we all know is going to eventually happen, and that's that we're going to pass away. So one of the questions I like to ask the clients just to start the conversation is, how much do they think a funeral costs? And when you ask them, you're going to get all kinds of different answers across the board. But this is available through National Guardian Life to kind of help you through that conversation. And this will help them determine how much they want to set aside. Are they going to be cremated? You know, we get some clients that say, oh, we don't need to do it, we're going to be cremated. And we have to tell them, you know, fire costs money too at this point in life. And there's going to be other things that either going to have to be done or you're going to want to have done that are going to cost money. So this is kind of a guide that can help get that conversation started for you and figure out exactly how much money you need to set aside for the funeral. You know, historically, it's funny how families do pay for their final arrangements. Obviously, life insurance is number one, but usually with life insurance, those funds are intended to be left to the beneficiaries, and they're usually not immediately available. Remember, the funeral home wants paid. They're getting ready. It's their money out on the line to put all this stuff together. So a lot of times when you're using life insurance, that can be a 2 to 4 week process to to get the death certificate, get the claim filed, get the money back. Number two is personal savings. And these are usually day-to-day living money that could be taken away quickly if they're ill and there's other costs that are going out the door. But one of the things when we ask our clients, have you prepaid your funeral? We will hear from them, well, I have a $15,000 CD at the bank that my daughter knows is for my funeral, or, I have money in savings that they're going to use for it. And you want them to give you that answer, because that's going to be an opportunity for you to show them how to get that out of that account that's countable towards a spend down if they were to get ill, and get it over to the side where it's 100% protected if that is indeed what their final wishes are as far as paying for that funeral. The third one is one, obviously an avenue you don't want to go down to, which is a credit card or a loan. And then obviously we don't want to be borrowing from family and friends. So as long as that funeral home wants that payment up front, I believe it's our duty to share that with the client and show them how we can get them in a position that they have it taken care of, and they're not leaving their family to wonder, how are we going to get this done? And fortunately, there's an easy answer for that, or an easy alternative. And that's where we turn to National Guardian Life and their funeral expense trust. It's really just a pre-funded plan that gives them the financial stability of insurance, and then it gives them that security of an irrevocable trust. Now, I want to say something about that. Anytime we're doing an NGL plan with a client, we tell them up front, this is an irrevocable plan. Don't call me to borrow money out of it. Don't call me because you want to cash it in. The only time this money is ever coming back out of here is when you pass away. I've been doing these plans for about 15, 16 years now with NGL. I've never had a client call me and ask me about taking money out of the plan, because I want them to know it's irrevocable. I want everybody to be on the same page. And more importantly, I want that money to be there when their family needs it the most. Now, we do get some protection by using the NGL Funeral Expense Trust. It's protected from probate, creditors, the nursing home, Medicaid. So the money's protected quickly. As soon as the money goes into the plan with the NGL Funeral Trust, that money is protected from a Medicaid spend down situation. And how the process works is pretty simple. We explain to the client how important it is. We identify the funds that we're going to use to buy the life insurance policy. If you're going to talk about this with clients, one of the things that's been very successful for me when I start talking about where we're going to get the money from is explaining to them that we're not even really buying anything. We're taking money from one pocket and we're putting it into the other pocket to get that money protected and to make sure without a shadow of a doubt that it's going to be there when their family needs it the most. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to buy a life insurance policy from National Guardian Life. Everybody's going to qualify for the policy. Nobody's going to get turned down. So the work that you're doing, you're going to get paid on that work. You're not going to have any health issues that will kick the plan back out. It's going to sit there and earn interest tax-free until the money is needed. And then when that client passes away, and I can give you an example because we've settled many of these, the client will usually call us, hey, mom passed away. Okay, she has National Guardian Life. What funeral home are you using? They'll give us the funeral home information. We'll call the funeral home to get the contact of where the claim paperwork needs to be sent. Then we'll give that information. We'll call in the claim to National Guardian Life, and then we're out of it. They deal directly with the funeral home, and that money is usually at the funeral home within 48 hours. Why is that important? Because again, that stuff has to be paid for first up front to the funeral home before they'll even conduct a funeral. So we've solved a bunch of problems there, and we've protected the money. A lot of times you'll get clients say, okay, well, what does it cover? In other words, what will it pay for, John? And then I share this. I keep this in my little presentation booklet for National Guardian Life. And I'll just share this with them that, hey, you know, here's all the things they cover, which you can see is just about everything that it takes in order to have a proper funeral. So one of the good ways to start the conversation as well with a client is we all know that 93% of all Americans have no long-term care coverage at all. And so we'll ask our clients up front if we don't already know, and a lot of times we've uncovered this already, but we may say to them, hey, you know, do you have any long-term care coverage? And they'll say no, and we'll say, well, you know, without that, if you get sick and need care, you're the one that's going to have to start spending your money to pay for your care until you become destitute, and then you'll be able to apply for Medicaid. Well, when we explain this to them and they don't have long-term care insurance, that's when we're going to explain to them that the first thing that we need to do is get funds put into an irrevocable trust for your funeral, because that's going to take the money off the countable list for Medicaid, and it's going to move it across the aisle to an asset that's not countable towards Medicaid. In other words, they can't come take that money. And now, again, you've got things in place for your family when your family's going to need it the most. So we'll share this with them too, because and with you, because I want you to see how this stacks up against, you know, comparable savings instruments, right? So we all know we have an annuity, we've got savings accounts, CDs, money markets, mutual funds, brokerage accounts, and you can see here that everything we're looking for a yes for is the only place that we get that down every column is going to be with the funeral expense trust. So even if you have clients that you've done a lot of annuity business with, you know, I think the stat now is like 94% of all annuities get passed to the next generation. Well, if that's going to be the case and they don't have the funeral expenses planned for, show them how to take the money out of the annuity. Yeah, we got to pay taxes on it, but we're not going to lose the money because we're going to move it over to a side where they're not going to make us spend it down in the event that we would need to have nursing care. So how it all fits together is pretty simple. We're going to blend that financial protection of life insurance. We're going to use that irrevocable funeral trust to protect the funds. We know now that we've got those funds set aside, and we've effectively spent down that asset to help that asset from being counted as excess money during Medicaid consideration. Now, you will run across clients that also may have the need for an NGL estate planning trust. This is a different trust. The process we use to buy the life insurance is the same, so nobody will get turned down. But what this is for is this is going to be able to be there for a client who you may say, hey, I know you don't have any long-term care insurance coverage, and if you get sick, they're going to make you spend your assets down. Do you have anybody, a church, charity, grandchildren, that you would like to put money away and know without a shadow of a doubt after 5 years, no matter if you get sick and have to spend all your other assets, that that money is guaranteed to be there, can't be taken by the nursing home, and will go to the beneficiary of your choice. If you ask them that and they're interested in that, then this is very important, because legacy planning isn't any different than funeral planning. And as a consumer, you've got a couple different choices. You can set the funds aside now to get instant liquidity to the beneficiaries. You can transfer a portion of your estate immediately and get that 5-year clock ticking. And you can cover your funeral expenses all in one plan. Now, if you don't do anything at all, again, your beneficiaries are going to have to wait for any other insurance proceeds that may be out there. The probate process will be needed if you're leaving it to juveniles, and then you leave your family members to cover your funeral expenses, and that's not necessary, because we have that easy alternative to actually doing nothing, and that's by using the NGL AssetGuard and the estate planning trust, because it's going to allow you to pay the funeral expenses to a funeral provider of your choice, Any remaining money can be used for outstanding expenses because those funds are going to go to the beneficiary. And then the proceeds are paid out in 2 business days, and they're all 100% tax-free, and we don't have to worry about the probate process. So again, in that trust, you can put up to $100,000. With the funeral trust, just the guaranteed funeral trust, it's up to $15,000. That can vary by state. I'm going to show you a state chart here in a little bit because we have a bunch of people on the call. But again, with this one, you can put up to $100,000 and you can name a beneficiary as well. So funding's easy. Again, you can do lump sum transfers from CDs or money market accounts. You may have clients who have old paid up life insurance, you know, the ones that smell like mold when you pull them out. But a lot of them will have like, you know, $10,000 in cash value and $12,000 in face amount. And your clients don't understand, at least the majority of them, that they don't get both those numbers. They get whatever's bigger. So if their death benefit's $12,000, their cash value is $10,000, they're really getting back $10,000 of their own money, and then there's $2,000 in death benefit. So we will say to them, hey, look, let's not risk the $10,000 if you're going to use it for your final expenses. Let's give up that $2,000 in additional death benefit and get the cash value moved over to where it's now not countable towards a nursing home situation. So again, the process is pretty simple. The same way it would work with the funeral trust. We're going to find the funds. We're going to move them over into the life insurance policy. And then again, the process when they pass away, the funeral provider is paid within 2 business days, and the excess money goes out to those beneficiaries as well. So as you can see, when you're using their plan to do some planning, you can really avoid a lot of the pitfalls that people don't think about. And when you're sharing this with your client, they understand that you're doing what's in their best interest and you're getting things prepared for what we definitely know is going to come at some point down the road. So again, the benefits to you and others, the trust is free. NGL provides the trust that the contracts go into, so you don't have to pay for an irrevocable funeral trust. The funds are totally portable. So if I went here in Columbus, Ohio and prepaid at a funeral home, and then my daughter decides to take my 5 grandsons and move to Florida, and I want to move down there and live the rest of my life out with them, it would be a problem if I prepaid at a funeral home here in Columbus. But with this, you can use this at any funeral home in the country. So you could set it up today. It doesn't matter where you move. It doesn't matter if your local funeral home goes out of business and a new one pops up and you want to use that one. You can use whatever funeral home you would like. The policy's going to grow. I'll share the interest rate with you. It's not a high interest rate, but this isn't to grow the money. This is to protect the money. And that's what we're going to do by using the final expense funds. And then those costs are not going to be passed along to the family members. Any remaining monies are going to go out to that beneficiary. So I know Beth talked about the upcoming Advisors Academy that IAMS hosts. I speak at that academy about NGL. And the biggest question I get from advisors is, well, John, you've talked to us about 2 trusts. Which trust do I use and when? Well, the funeral expense trust, that's great for crisis planning. I have an elder law attorney down the street that may call me and say, hey, I got this couple. We're going to try to get them qualified for Medicaid with a May 1st deadline. Can you come down and write 2 of these plans and get $30,000 off the table for us? So it's great to get that money out immediately. Or you might be dealing with someone who's spending their assets now on long-term care, maybe for themselves, for a spouse, and they know they're going to be broke within 5 years. This is also a great plan that will allow them to get that money out today and make sure that there's money there for the funeral. And then a lot of times with new clients we bring in, we always ask them, have you prepaid your funeral? If they tell us no, we explain all the benefits. And a lot of those clients, they just want it done. They've got the money. They know they're going to pass away. They love the concept. And so they just want to protect the money now, and we write the plan into that. The estate planning trust would be more of a client who maybe Medicaid's a non-issue now or 5 years or maybe never, and they just want to know that if anything would happen, that money is going to be protected and will go to their beneficiaries. And once that money is sat in the plan for 5 years, it's 100% protected from the Medicaid spend down. And that's really the real opportunity. We've written a lot of those $100,000 plans. They're great for the client, and it's a good revenue source for our business as well. So just to compare the two for you at a high level view again, the NGL Funeral Expense Trust, 15,000 state limit. I'm going to show you the slide here in a second, depending on where you are. We're going to help exclude that money when applying for Medicaid and SSI. Trust pays the funeral costs. If you've overfunded it, by that I mean you've put 15,000 in, the funeral only costs 14. That 1,000 does have to go back to the estate of the insured. It can't go to a beneficiary because we had the benefit of excluding it from the Medicaid look back. The NGL Estate Planning Trust, we can put up to 100,000. After 5-year look back, it's 100% excluded from the estate in the event of a nursing home stay. And any funds that aren't used to pay the funeral expense, those are returned to the designated beneficiary that the insured has chose. So the product that we use to fund it is called the NGL AssetGuard. It's a pretty simple product. It's a fixed rate life policy that everybody is going to qualify for. Here is your individual state limits that we've got from NGL. So I like to talk about this a minute because sometimes I'll get a client who say they're in Michigan and they can't offer the funeral expense trust. That's true, but if they still want to take care of the problem, they could still sell the client, if they just wanted to pay for a funeral, they could do 15,000 into the estate planning trust. Again, it's a 5-year look back. You just don't want to write somebody that's on their deathbed, right? You want to, if you're using it for that, you want to write someone who's going to make it 5 years. We can at least protect that money. If not, and they never had a Medicaid situation, or I'm sorry, just Medicaid situation, it wouldn't matter because the 15,000 is paying out. It doesn't matter if it's first year, third year, or fifth year. If I was in a state, let's just use where IAMS is located in Nebraska, and I can only put 6122, I think at that point I would do the 6122, and whatever the difference was that they needed to complete their funeral arrangements, I would sell them the estate planning trust to make sure we had the full amount of money when it was needed. I'm going to talk to you about the single pay. That's all we do here at Entingh Financial. You can write it from 2,500 up to 100,000. It pays 0.75% daily. And I tell my clients this is not about growth. This is about protection. We're trying to protect the funds. If we want growth, we've got a lot of other options out there to get you a lot higher interest, but the money's not protected. So you got to give up one in order to get the other. The single pay, we can go 0 to 99 years old. So your window is fully open for the ages that you can write to. It's going to increase again on that daily growth, and it'll give immediate full death benefit. Now, if you hate paperwork, you're going to love this application. There's only 2 forms to fill out. When I wrote my first annuity back in 1993, it was on a guy that owned a dry cleaner in Marion, Ohio, $25,000 annuity. It was 3 pages, and the last page of the application was the receipt I was leaving him for his $25,000. As we all know now, whether you're doing managed money, annuities, life insurance, long-term care, these applications can get up to 30, 40 pages in some cases. This one, it's going to be a couple pieces of paper. It's literally 15 minutes at most to get it completed. No exams are going to be required. And again, Everyone's going to qualify, so you know that the work and effort that you're putting in, you're going to get compensated for that, and you should. That's your job, is to solve people's problems and get paid for your intellectual capital. So when you're presenting it to clients, I was very fortunate. I had a great mentor coming in up through this business. And I would tell you, start with your annual reviews. If you're good at hosting your annual reviews, a lot of times there's really no revenue to be made on the annual review. It's really just a service you're providing to your client because you told them that you would do it and you want to do the right thing. But if you have the opportunity to bring this up at your annual review and ask that simple question, have you prepaid your funeral? You're going to open up a lot of discussion. And remember, these people like you, they trust you, you've given them good advice. So the chances of you walking through with them and getting the deal go up substantially because you already have that relationship. You want to stress those benefits of planning ahead. You can use it with any funeral home, stress that to them. You can get on your Google machine and pull up funeral homes that have went out of business, or people have pilfered the funds and it's went out of business. I'm not saying that happens in every funeral home, but if you Google it, you will see it happens at a lot. With this, the insurance company is holding your funds, and those funds are going to be there when you need them. And then again, if they have those old life policies where the cash value is getting up to the face amount, it's a great play to do the 1035 exchange. And you're going to give your clients that peace of mind of knowing that they've planned ahead and the funds are protected. And at the end of the day, isn't that our job, to give our clients peace of mind in whatever we're consulting on them with? So where do you find the money? The reason I brought up the CDs earlier was one of my first sales was a client who I asked them how they were going to pay for the funeral, and it was a mother and daughter, and the mother said, well, my daughter knows there's a CD over at the bank that's designated to pay for my final expenses. Once I showed them that if they left it at the bank and mom got sick and needed care, they're going to make her spend it all, or we could get it over into our plan and protect it. It was a no-brainer. Again, I'm using the theory that we're really not even buying anything. We're just taking money we already have from one pocket, we're moving it over to the other pocket, and we're solving a couple different problems for them. So this is the planning guide that I was talking about. Anytime we do one of these plans with a client, so if we write the application and we pick up the check, or we're doing a 1035 exchange, whatever that looks like, I tell them the story about my mom and my dad. And I give this to them because my mentor told me a long time ago, whenever you do business with a new client or it's a new product for an existing client, always leave them a task. Keep them engaged in the process. It takes buyer's remorse way down. So we give them this. I tell them the story about my mom and dad, and I ask them to complete this by the time that we bring this back to them. And this is the guide that I was able to hand, and I still have this in my mom's handwriting. I kept it, that I was able to hand to them, and my mom had every single thing. She was a stickler for it, but she had everything filled out in the planning guide to the point where it was just an easy process when I was in a really difficult time in my life, taking care of things for my mom. So again, these are free. These are offered through NGL. Once you're contracted, you can order them and give them to your clients, and it really goes a long way with the client. So NGL is great with support. They may be the only company in my entire 37-year career that I can tell you I've never had one issue with them, not from getting business submitted, getting paid on my business, claims being paid to the funeral home. It's just one of the easiest processes I've ever worked with as far as working with an insurance carrier, and their website gives you everything you need, down to even some of these PowerPoint presentations if you use an iPad in your meetings. Why sell it? I showed you the stats. People are thinking about it. They need it. It's a great income opportunity for you. The trusts are free. The funds are portable to any funeral home. And we're backing all this up with an AM Best rated A company with over $4.8 billion in assets. And this is what their focus is on. This is what they're good at. We're going to give that client the peace of mind. And again, if you don't like paperwork, you're going to love doing business with National Guardian Life. So great compensation, if you're out doing your reviews and you just wrote, funerals now are $15,000, $16,000 for a traditional funeral. So if you had a couple couples a month that you could present this to and get the funds moved over and help them and protect them, you could add $60,000 in revenue. I like to talk about everything in months, which drives my wife crazy. But that's $5 grand a month. That's office expenses. That's car payment. That's whatever you have going on. It's a great revenue source that you can use to supplement in your business. And there's nothing wrong with having quite a few legs coming off of that income stool in your business. So I'm just going to show you this real quick. Once you're licensed, you'll certainly get a commission schedule. But I just like to go up here and I'll just talk about the funeral expense trust. If I'm out meeting with clients and they're in that 60 to 75 age range, that average commission is going to be right around 8%. So if you went out and picked up a $30,000 deal, that's $2,400 in commission for doing a review, getting that done for the client, and it's nothing you have to deal with again. Once this is done, it's done, it's put into place, and there's no other moving parts to the program. Again, you'll be hard pressed to find me to say anything bad about NGL and the way that they do business, the length of time they've been doing business, and obviously we like the ratings that AM Best gives the company. So what would some of your biggest challenges be? First thing, getting comfortable with the concept. When I sold that first annuity back in 1993 to the guy at the dry cleaner, full disclosure, I'm not even sure I knew what the heck I was completely doing. But now, that was $25,000. Now here we are in 2024, and we write millions and millions of dollars a year in annuity premium. I don't even think twice about it. It's not because I'm the smartest guy, but it's because I'm comfortable with the concept of an annuity. I understand all the workings of it, and I believe that it's a good tool for my client. So again, getting comfortable with any concept will propel you in sales, learning how to present it, stress those benefits of pre-planning. Anything's easy to procrastinate on. Procrastination's the easy way out. Your job is to show those plan benefits and motivate your client to making that move to get it done. And then again, keeping it top of mind, every client, every day. It's not that hard of a question. Have you prepaid your funeral? And asking that question sometimes can lead to thousands of dollars in revenue for your business just by asking that simple question. So as we're heading down the road to wrapping up here, I'm going to share a story with you. It was a bad story starting out, turned out to be a good story, but I got a call. This is probably going to be 10 years ago now. I got a call from a client. Her mom had passed away. I had a $500,000 annuity on her mom. Her mom was a longtime client of mine. And when the daughter called me, I told her I was sorry to hear about all that, that she needed to get through everything she needed to get through. And then we needed to meet, right? So we could take care of the annuity. She was the sole beneficiary. She said this to me: well, John, don't worry about it. I've already talked to my guy down at the bank, and he's going to handle everything for us, even the annuity. Well, when I got off that phone call, I was disappointed that I wasn't going to get to work with the asset again. But I was also disappointed in myself because I didn't have anything in place that would allow me to make me look like I'm the guy that should be doing this for her. So I built this guide for beneficiaries. And what we did is we went out and we implemented it with every client. Every time we did a review, we brought this to the table. We collected all new data from our clients. We showed them how to position the guide and show their kids that they have it. And our success isn't just out putting those in with existing clients. We picked up $1.5 million in new annuity premium. We picked up about 200,000 in traditional single premium life and about 150,000 in this National Guardian Life product. And again, it was just practice that helped us to perfect it. And the reason I did this is I didn't ever want any doubt for the kids of my clients of what they should do in the event that their parents passed away. So once you're licensed with National Guardian Life through Insurance Agency Marketing Services, we can make this available to you through the creative team, and you can get it branded to your own company information. But you can see what I did here. For help settling my estate, please call my advisor at Entingh Financial Services. I wanted them to know, and we tell them, show your kids this, show them where it's at with your important documents, and let them know they are to call us, that we're the ones that have been working with you. So this letter accompanies the front of it. It really just tells them that, you know, we're going to try to save them every tax, court cost, and fee. We have a team of professionals around us that'll help ensure that we get things done properly. And with over 30 years of experience, we're confident that it'll be a job well done. So again, you can copy this verbatim, just put your name on it. It goes into the guide. The guide itself is about 30 pages. It has everything in there from what they should do when they pass away, to where important documents are kept, to who the first call should be. And it doesn't say to the attorney, it says to Entingh Financial Services. And then we go back through this financial organizer with them. We're collecting everything now. We want to know about every one of those kids. We want to know if they're going to get an inheritance anytime soon. And the very first one we ever did on this is a sidebar. And this is the absolute truth. The gentleman that works for me actually was with me when we did it. But we asked him, were they expecting an inheritance? And the lady literally looked at us and said, we just had $250,000 put in yesterday from our mother's estate as our inheritance. So it's never happened again, but it was a great way to kick off the party. So this financial organizer, you'll update everything with them. And now you can say to the client, with this beneficiary guide, with this updated organizer and your NGL, if I had never met you before, I could come in and basically have a great chance of taking care of your funeral without ever meeting you and getting your estate settled without have ever met you, if that were to be the case. So this is a great tool. I'll leave it on this note. We had a client that we left this with that lives in Pennsylvania. Long story short, her dad died. She called us. We went up and saw her, or the gentleman that works for me did. And in one setting, we picked up $1 million in assets. So again, it works. It's available to you. And the creative team can make sure that you get that. I want to go back one slide. You're going to see here question 8. Have you prepaid for your funeral? If they tell us no, we don't launch into a big sales pitch. We make a note here that they don't have it, and then we circle back with them, and we're prepared to show them why they need it and how we get that done for them. So that's really what I have to share for you. Beth, if there's any questions or anything, I'd be happy to take a few minutes and answer them for everybody. But I know it's a Monday. I know there's a lot going on, and I appreciate everybody taking your time to learn a little bit more about NGL.
I don't have any questions here, but I do. Well, one is thank you so much for doing the presentation. It's always wonderful to hear your perspective of things. And also, the biggest thing for me on this is the liquidity that it has for the client. Even in the case when you talk about the CD, if they were planning that way, that's going to require a death certificate and time for those funds to get dispersed. And secondly, the fact that it goes to a funeral home, that alleviates a lot of arguments with family members, because if money's going directly to beneficiaries with life insurance, who's responsible for what can be a big deal, and having a little bit of forethought about that. So we, at time of death, you don't want family scuffles. And then the other thing I was going to say, when you mentioned the whole life that had 10,000 of cash and 12,000 of death benefit, the other part where I've seen that work is when you've got underperforming universal life products that are going down the tank, and there's really no option to replace them with life insurance, either because they're uninsurable or there's just not a product that it can go to. This is a great solution to make sure they can stop the bleeding and have some kind of benefit as far as taking care of their funeral and so forth. I have a couple polling questions. One is if you would like to learn more about IAMS Wealth Management, and in particular, if you'd like to know about their new onboarding process. All right. And then next is if you'd like to know about our upcoming life and annuity academies. And then last is if you would like more information on this topic that we discussed today. Okay. Again, thanks everyone for your attendance today. John, always a pleasure. Is there anything you wanted to add before I close down the meeting?
Nope, I would just say to anybody on here that hasn't been to the IAMS Agent Academy, it's it's a great tool to broaden your horizons and learn about a lot of different things, but also network with your peers. So I know Beth mentioned that to you guys, but keep that in mind. It's a great value thing that IAMS provides.
All right, everybody, have a wonderful Monday, and make sure to protect your eyes. We'll see you next Monday.